We walked about a mile in here so far, and we're just kind of hunting our way in right now. As you can see right here, all these trees down from the hurricane. So we're just trying to find a spot where there's not as many trees down. It's real windy this morning, so we're trying to get on the leeward side of the wind, on the side of a ridge here where we can be out of the wind. You can see down here, there's not as many trees down this area as above us. Just gonna kind of keep easing our way up this ridge. There was a car in the parking lot this morning, so I'm not really sure where that guy's hiding at. So we're just kind of hunting our way in. We got a cut over on the back side of this ridge, and this is the first time we've ever deer hunted up here. This is where we scouted in my other videos, so we're just gonna keep easing out this road bed and see what we can find. First deer track, little tiny one. Yeah. First decent trail we've come on, but there's leaves in it, so they ain't been using it much. That's probably the best sign we've seen so far. Other than that, there's no fresh tracks in the road, so I don't think they've used that trail in a while. We're going to head back up to the top of the ridge, walk out a ridge and try it. Well, it's 8:42. We just got sat down. Daddy's back up the ridge, probably about 300 yards from me. He's overlooking that side of the ridge. I'm sitting down, there's a saddle behind me, but I come down the ridge probably about 100 yards from that saddle, overlooking this bottom in between two ridges. The wind's blowing today. It's calmed down. It was blowing really, really hard at daylight. So this morning we decided to go walk down in the bottom, and there were so many trees down that there's no way the deer could walk through there. So I told Dad, I said, let's go back to the top of the ridge and let's work that finger down. So we worked that finger down, and there were some deer tracks in the road. Back up there, we've not seen much sign at all. We're kind of in a different spot than what we scouted before. We're kind of up above it, but we have not seen a trail yet. That trail on the bank there had been a few deer through there, but it had been a while. So there's a thicket behind me where they're probably bedding, and I'm hoping they'll cross that thicket and come work down here to this creek bottom, because it's windy today, so I'm hoping they'll be in that bottom. But it's 8:44. We're going to sit here for a little while and see if we see anything. Fingers crossed we'll see something. It's late season. There was a few cars out in the parking lot, some people coming by, going to different spots, but all you can do is get in here and try. Can't kill them on the couch. So stay tuned, and hopefully I'll have some action for you. Be kind of aggressive this morning. I've got this Primos Deccan. I've used it before. I used it behind the house and caught in 2 does. But actually on these game lands you can't shoot a doe because there's not many. Or you can't this part of the season. You can in the early part, but this game land don't really have a whole lot of deer, so you're not going to see sign where it's just wore out, which makes it very tough to pattern these deer in these mountains. But I'm gonna try some calling with my can and some grunt call. And I'm not really usually an aggressive type of caller, but I want to try new things, so. I don't know if that'll work or not, but like I said, I don't really call or do that much, but I'm going to try a little something a little different here on the game land. Maybe if something's close by, I'll hear it. So we're going to see it for a little while and see what happens. Kidding. o'clock. I've been here for about an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna move over some. We'll walk down the finger of this ridge just a little bit more. Maybe see if I can see a little more sign than what I'm seeing here. It's real windy. That wind is not letting up, so it's not really looking good, but I'm just gonna try to move around a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 more spots before we head out this evening, so maybe we'll see some deer. Stay tuned. I just moved spots. There's an old rub right there. That's an old one though, it's not fresh. I moved over, got the 2 ridges over on this little saddle right here. And we'll set up there where I can overlook both ridges. I just moved about 200 yards left of where I was at, about 2 ridges over. I'm sitting on this roadbed right now on top of the ridge. There was a little trail back there. It was faint though. Really wasn't much sign on it. Right here, I'm overlooking this roadbed. You see that roadbed runs down the ridge right there. Kind of out of the wind right here, so hopefully we'll see some deer. That wind is still kicking. I did play a prank on them. So Dalton and Trey, they come, but they're hunting a different side of the game land. And I sent them this old picture of me and told them I got a deer. You can see that or not. And they believed it. They called me freaking out. They were like, "Where are you at? We want to come see it." Figured I'd play a prank on them. Anyways, I thought that was funny, but hopefully I'll actually get a deer, but we're gonna sit here and hang out for a little bit. I might move 1 more time before we head out. So stay tuned and hopefully we'll have some action for you. Well, it's lunchtime. I'm gonna head back towards Dad. I'm gonna kinda hunt my way back though. I'm gonna peek over this ridge and see what I see. I didn't see nothing this morning. Maybe we'll run into something on the way back. But I'm gonna ease my way out of here, so maybe I'll see a deer. We'll find out though. Big track on the way back to the truck. Here's one down here. Well, you took the smaller tracks.
I could be better down there too.
Yeah. That's thick right there. That's a big old doe, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's a fat doe.
You see it on the camera?
Yeah, I'm watching it on the camera.
right there.
keeps looking in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
That one keeps looking straight ahead of him.
Oh, look out in front, see if it sees it. See if you see a buck.
Alright guys, so even though we didn't get anything on this hunt really taught us a lot today. First of all, there was quite a bit of hunters, more than I was surprised. We never really run into anybody, but we ended up walking about 1.5 miles, almost 2 miles back in there. And the farther back we went, the less sign we actually seen. So we really learned a lot on this hunt. And one of the things was, we found an overlooked spot, a spot that we walked by that morning, and just didn't think about it, that there would be deer over on a ridge where we walked by. And on the way back, I told Dad, I was like, let's just peek over this ridge. And when you peeked over the ridge, you could see to the other ridge, it was a cutover. So we were just peeked over the ridge and we were looking, and we got to standing there and we were looking and looking. I was like, Dad, that looks like a deer. So I looked through my binoculars, and sure enough, there was a doe over there feeding. And we probably weren't even a 1/4 mile from the truck. And I couldn't believe it. She wasn't spooky. She never seen us. And we stood there. And she actually was walking down the hill, and she picked up another doe. I guess that doe was bedded and we never seen it. But if she stood up, she started feeding with her. Well, then we look up the ridge about 50 yards above them, and there's another doe. So there's 3 does in that cutover. And where that cutover was above a field that people had been hunting. So I guess they were pushing them deer up top on that hill. But we sat there and looked for a buck for about 30 or 40 minutes, and we never seen anything. Unfortunately, I had to leave early that day. But as far as the game lands go, we're probably done with public land for the year. We only got, I think, 4 or 5 more days until the season's over. But yeah, if you plan on hunting game lands in the late season, from what I've seen and from what I learned this week, is try to find some spots that are overlooked. We were walking pretty far back in there this morning, 1.5 miles, and there were still a lot of footprints, just, on that logging road. But if you can get off the logging roads a bit like we did, you probably will find some deer. Even though that spot where we seen the deer wasn't 40 yards off the logging road, it was just a spot you wouldn't think to stop and just glass on another ridge. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun day. It was really, really windy, which, those deer were out feeding in the middle of the day in the wind, and I was surprised by that. But yeah, it was enjoyable. Unfortunately, we didn't get a buck. It's been a slow season even here at the house. I'm going to hunt around the house the rest of the season and see what shows up. Maybe something will come in late season feeding on the food plots. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't know if, wherever you're hunting out on public land, how you've done this season. Most of the public land we hunt is out of state, but yeah, as far as how it went this morning, I mean, it was fun. I thought it was a success just seeing deer late season after all the pressure those deer have had. That game land gets hunted very hard. I mean, you're looking at 4 or 5 cars we seen this morning, and I was very surprised considering there was only 1 more week of season left. I figured everybody would have done give up, but yeah, it was a good hunt. It was a good day, good hunt. Sometimes the successful hunt is just seeing deer. You don't always have to kill something. I just enjoy getting out and learning the deer, their movements, their patterns, figuring out what they're doing in the late season. It would have been nice to get a good buck, but that doesn't always work out. If you've hunted long enough, you'll know that. But I hope y'all have enjoyed this video, and stay tuned, and hopefully I'll get me a buck before season goes out. I wanted to share a little scripture with y'all today that I've been reading in Colossians. It's a short verse. It's chapter 3, verse 2. It says, "Devote yourselves to prayer, be watchful and be thankful." And that's what that hunt reminded me of, just to be watchful and thankful. I just sat back and just enjoyed time with my dad, hunting with him. He's been my hunting partner since, of course, the day I was born, and I'm just blessed to have him in my life and as a father. And, just devoting myself to prayer, just to always pray and be thankful that God allows me to hunt and gives me the physical ability and the mental ability, and just to sit back and watch what he's created. I feel so blessed all the time. I think about people that can't physically hunt, and just sometimes we take it for granted, I feel like, and I just have to wake up every morning and just pray, thank you, God, for allowing me to hunt, even if I don't kill a deer. It's not always about killing stuff. It's just about getting out there, enjoying what He's created, and just being in awe about how He created this earth and how beautiful it is, the mountains, the sunrise, all of it. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, and hope y'all have a good Christmas. I know Christmas is in a few days, so just remember, Jesus is the reason for Christmas, and just thank the Lord that He brought His Son to die for our sin. And I just hope everybody has a good and safe Christmas, and have safe travels.